What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to the Sooner Surge. We apologize for being 1 minute late. Welcome back, Maz. It is always good to see Ron rolling through here and trolling through here. And Jay, it's Thursday. It is 1 week from when Rudy will be playing at my house, and OU will be playing in 8 days. And it's getting really real right now as it's about game prep time for the University of Oklahoma, Jay, and I'm all in.
Yeah, once it got under 10 days for me, it's here. I mean, 8 days. They are starting game prep for whatever kind of game you're going to get with Temple. Not going to be a whole lot to really get from it. It's football in Oklahoma, and it's Friday night. I think it's kind of cool they're open on a Friday. I hated it at first. The closer it gets, the more I love it. And yes, this happened today. Sounds like it's going to happen. The contract extension. Is it official? I've heard talks, but wow. Highest paid center in NFL history. Another feather in Bill Beanerbow's cap.
Yeah, right? Coach's show is Sunday. And Lori, we have your email. We're asking a question tonight, okay? So thank you for the email.
Yeah. What's up, Corey? How are you? Hey, Dakota, hope you're doing good. Look at the NFL right now, just scattered with Bill Beanerbrook guys all over the place, right? Just continues to put up unbelievable, talented offensive linemen who have made big-time careers. Not just linemen, but guys that have been there a long time in the NFL. That's the thing about it. They're not just one and done or a few years and done. They last.
What were your thoughts on what BV said about the quarterbacks?
What about it?
What were your thoughts on it?
I don't know what you're asking. I mean,
I didn't know if you saw it or not. Basically, he just said Michael Hawkins has flashed brilliance, but he's also shown that he's a kid just out of high school. Jackson Arnold said he's made improvements in pretty much every area, and he's the guy who bets on people. And he said Jackson Arnold has improved in every area, and his only start, he threw for 350 and led the team to 500 yards in offense. So
yeah, hey, good. That's good, PD. I'm glad you're starting the podcast. Here's what I'll say about it, Jerm, and then I want to get the Sooner fans' comment. The probably one complaint from Brent Venables for me for interviews, I think he talks about every player, and sometimes I don't know if it's coaches talk or not with him, because I do think you can go down a list of any position and he'll talk about guys that may never even play this year. I do think he does that a lot. Now, I'm not saying per se with Hawkins. I'm just saying in general. I mean, you listen to a lot of his interviews, he almost trying to think if everybody said it didn't leave anybody out. I mean, I think it's him trying to just build everybody up. But at the same time, how much do you take as a fandom from that? You know what I mean?
Hey,
and yeah, this was great, the Andor Anthony stuff. If he has no limitations, he's a starter, is he not?
Oh, it's huge if there's no limitations.
Who's the starters? If he has no limitations, who's starting game one?
It's Anthony, Anderson, and Burks.
That's who I would probably go with as well.
I mean, if he is 100%, and we'll know this because if he plays against Temple and has no limitations, then he's 100%, and those are the three you go with.
Yeah, and that's a great core. The only question I have with Andrew Anthony is he may have no limitations, but how does he look this year after the injury? That's my thing. We'll see. We'll find out. Hey, Bevel at South Carolina, but what about
scholarship?
Booty getting the start, though.
Booty's starting, and Davis Bevel's on scholarship now. Yeah. Corey says, my uncle's coworker's dad is the PT guy for Andrew Land. What? I don't know what that. Yeah, he's playing right now, so that's. I just saw a video highlight clip of him on about a 60-yard bomb. Farouk would be the backup, Jay.
I would agree with that. If that's
what I think Steven says. Farouk backup. I agree. And Greg got said it's hard to believe that Farouk doesn't run out with the first team.
For who, though?
I don't know.
For who? Burks or Anderson or Anthony? Now, I could see this, which it'd be kind of weird, though. You're not going to be playing Farouk and Burks at the same time that often. I wouldn't think, would you? I mean, you could.
Unless Farouk has moved to the outside.
Look at that. Hey, Colin, I had Chipotle for dinner as well. Chipotle, man, getting smaller portions there, I must say.
Greg God says he would play Farouk over Anthony right now. And I got to get back to Colin's take here in a second, but Bobby says Bobby wouldn't personally play Anthony until Tennessee, just not needed. Maybe a few series and maybe just see what he's got. He does need some playing time before that game. Bobby, check your private messages on the Discord or email us at ousportsroundup@gmail.com. Got a question for you. Hey, Colin.
Real quick, Lori had Chipotle too. How many people had Chipotle tonight?
Not me. Hey, Jay, I'm saying it right now again, and I'm not saying that I'm right all the time, but, man, a lot of times I am. I just have to say, I think Jaron Canick's playing a lot more than people think he is.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know.
I do.
There's a lot of positions we can sit here and talk about, and we may know the answers to. Defensively, who they're going to throw out there at defensive back, linebacker, and safety, I couldn't tell you. I mean, other than Bowman, obviously, and other than Stutzman, and other than Woody, Washington, I would think it's going to be Gentry, but safety-wise, is it going to be RSJ? Is it going to be Bowen? I don't know.
Yes, it is. It's going to be both.
Who's it going to be? I think they're going to throw Kip Lewis and Stutzman out there to start. That's what I would think.
Jay, I saw some kind of preseason all SEC defense first team, and I was shocked. OU had 2 guys, Georgia, Bama all had 2, and then the last team that had 2 was Kentucky. Yeah. Did I just see Blake from Utah? Is Blake from Utah on here tonight?
Blake, welcome back, man, in the chat. Been a while. Glad to have you back. Maybe you've been on here, just haven't been commenting. Yeah, probably see some 3-3-5 defense. I could agree with that. Keen says, and we lobby for a new tradition. Every pick, fumble recovered, or fourth down stop, everyone screams the little crowd participation part from the song Chelsea Dagger. That would be so hype. I don't know that song. Do you?
I'll have to listen to that, Jay. I don't know it.
I'll give it a listen.
Hey, Steven, super high on RSJ. Absolutely. I am too.
Hey, no problem being busy. Sometimes that's a good thing, though, when you're busy, right? If it's work, maybe it's good. Yeah, I don't know about the rankings. I could really care less about any particular one. Just give me the composite and whatever it is, that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, the Blackhawks use it for the goal. So I'm going to check it out after the live tonight. I want to hear it. Bobby says Stutzman and Kip with McKenzie and Lewis as the backups. I really don't know where Kennett gets playing time is what Bobby says.
And Greg, I agree. Billy Bowman's an NFL guy. I think Peyton Bowen probably is, but I know I'm probably the one on here that's I'm not going to use the term lowest because I'm really high on Peyton Bowen. I still have to see some things from Peyton Bowen. He didn't play enough last year. Like, I can't crown him as an NFL guy immediately.
Hey, I want to get to some discussion here about a stat that I saw today. Okay.
And I agree, Ron.
Here's some records. I want you to listen to these guys. Appreciate it. Hey, Blake, you're the real MVP, bro. Who said that? Was that Kevin Durant? I think it was Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Here we go. Coaching. I'm going to name some coaching records. Okay. 6-20. That's Brian Kelly. I'll tell you what this is for a little bit later. 6-20. Steve Sarkisian, 3-14. Lane Kiffin, 15. Those are Nope, not top 25. Those are their records versus top 10 teams. Lane Kiffin's 3-15. Everybody talks about how great a coach he is. 3-15 versus top 10 teams. 3-14 is Steve Sarkisian. Everyone talks about how really good Steve Sarkisian is. He's 3-14. Brian Kelly, 6-20. Now, I believe Kirby Smart is like 21-8. And then I think the next best winning percentage, I think, is Kalen DeBoer at 4-1. And we know that 3 of those were last year, I think, 3 of those games. But I just think it's very interesting that a lot of these coaches that everybody talks about are real good or up-and-comers. They struggle against the top teams. And only Kirby Smart and obviously Nick Saban, because I think Dabo Swinney's record was maybe like 18-14 or something, 18-13, something like that. So that was a winning percentage. At least he had a winning percentage. But I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Jen says Peyton Bone will show me. I'm here for it. I hope he does. I think his playmaking ability is what's off the charts. I think it's unbelievable. I just need to see more because last year he was banged up. We didn't get to see exactly who he was yet. So that's why I say that. I didn't see Klatt's playoff predictions.
I didn't see it either. There's been so many people putting – I saw Greg McElroy. He didn't have OU in it. He had 5 teams from the SEC, no Oklahoma. He had LSU getting in there. Coconut Greg says, do we think Billy Bowman and Stutzman have peaked, or could we see them level up? If I were to pick one of the two to have peaked, it would be Bowman, just in the fact when I say peak, numbers-wise, I don't know how it's possible for him to have better numbers than last year.
This isn't a numbers thing, in my opinion.
And that's why I said that. I think he could be a better player, but have less stats as far as interceptions, touchdowns, and all that. He could be a better player.
There's a couple things Billy Bowman, in my opinion, can improve on. He did get took a bad angle a couple games, got beat, but in my opinion, it's all about leadership this year. It's about staying healthy. It's about leading this defense and bringing other guys on board, all those things. Yeah,
that's a good – Jen, you're right. He could have more tackles.
Klatt said OU's going to the playoff.
Well, Klatt thinks OU should be in the playoff every year, and I wouldn't disagree. If you're Oklahoma, that should be your goal, and if it's not, I think you'd be disappointed. I mean, we've talked about this before, the 8-4 people that think it's okay. It's not going to be okay if they go 8-4 every year and don't make playoffs. It's not going to be good. Okay?
Let me say something with the comment. I think it was Steven that put on there about it's college football season. Listen, from tomorrow till next Friday, maybe the most anticipated opening game in the history of the University of Oklahoma. You can sit here and say that I'm exaggerating. I'm not.
No, because the SEC's been talked about for how many years now?
To me, this is it, Jay. This is the culmination of what a lot of fans have been waiting for. I know it's Temple. I know it's a Friday night. Doesn't matter. This is it. This is the time that people have been waiting for, like Hunter says, for 3 years and 2 months. You cannot compare this opening game to any other opening game. This is it. So for the next seven days, everyone, buckle your seatbelt, get your popcorn ready, whatever you want to do. Be on here every night at 9:30 because we're going to be on here having a blast, getting geared up for this thing.
Yeah. Game day back this Saturday. Are they in Dublin, Ireland? Is that where they're at for the Georgia Tech, Florida State game? What's up, Scott? How you doing tonight, Scott? Hey, who does Tennessee open up with, Scott? Drop it in here. I don't think it's a very good team, but
Dalpo, I've got to highly disagree. I do this all the time on here when people say this comment, this stat. If OU is 8-4, I'm very upset. Yeah, I know you say you're not happy, but you could live with it. As an OU fan, I can't. And let me get a Chief saying that there's going to be 1 sack and 1 interception, Jay. Predict who gets the first. I'm going with PJ Adebawore for the sack, and I'm going with first interception. I'm going to shock every one of you guys. Woody Washington.
I would go Thomas or Ethan Downs first sack, and then interception is Gentry Williams. He did it last year. I don't know why he wouldn't this year. Is there a new defensive line offer? Hunter, I don't know if you know of anything, but Not that
The
I
only
can.
other offer that I thought OU's got out there they're waiting on is Christian Jones.
Well, I believe in the Discord today, I believe Jackson dropped something about a defensive back. Yeah, Hunter put it in here, which is kind of interesting. That was kind of interesting.
Blake from Utah's got Des Malone, and he's a name that most people are forgetting now because as the fall camp started, Des Malone's name stopped being talked about. Des Malone's name was talked a lot about during summer, and then as fall got here, it's not talked about as much.
Hey, NC State's going to be pretty good. I think that's the team. A lot of people have them ranked pretty high, actually. That's a good matchup week 2.
Chester's got Woolard for sacks, Bone for picks. And then I saw someone said, Sooner fan said, Christian Jones, make the wise choice, come to Oklahoma. And listen, out of Omaha, Nebraska, I mean, Matt Rule, it's OU and Nebraska, and OU's got to find a way to get this guy.
I agree. And then I still think you wait and see on some guys that possibly could flip, maybe. It's still out there. Nothing happens till they're signed. So there are some guys. I mean, Lamont Rogers, is he going to go to Missouri? Is the Fasusi thing going to sway him at all? I mean, we'll see.
I did not know that Farouk's brother played for Tennessee, Jay.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, Hunter, there's the name, Jaden Bradley.
That's it. Yeah. Which is very interesting for them to offer so late on this. But, I mean, I don't know. And, yeah, I saw this, Jen. Daniel Akinkumi, 100% on hosting recruits that come in, says there's one more left. I did see that, which I thought was interesting. Would that be Lamont? Did he host Lamont Rogers?
Not sure, Jay.
That'd have to be something I'd have to look up. But
Jay, let's go to trivia.
Hey, real quick, Babaloa. Ooh, that'd be good. Hey, I've always wondered, how much do you think the host plays into the recruitment of a player?
It's got to play in some, Jay. These guys are easily influenced.
Chester, we're in the hunt for everybody because nobody signed yet. Anybody that's committed elsewhere, until they sign, you're in the hunt officially. But I do think Rogers is a guy they could sway, or maybe Babaloa. I just thought Babaloa was going to end up at Michigan. What did you say about trivia? You want to get trivia?
Let's get to trivia, Jay, because it has to do with what you said earlier.
Trivia sponsored by the Fan Stop. We have not talked about this. We can talk about it in a little bit. Sponsored by the Fan Stop, www.thefanstop.com. Officially licensed merchandise, OU gear. You want to check them out. Sign up for it. When you do, use code SURGE. You'll get 10% off your first 3 months. Great people, great product. You want to do it, so sign up for it. Here we go with the trivia. I mentioned the top 10 coaches earlier that had their records against top 10 teams. What was Bob Stoops' record against top 10 teams? That's the trivia question. Credit Lori for emailing us with this question. But what was Bob Stoops' career record against top 10 opponents?
And I know you.
I remember Bob Stoops, from some people think he's an average coach. Not me, but some people.
I don't know what you mean by that, but
Jay, we've had an argument in here before is what I mean by that.
I know you and
I don't even remember who said that average or not. I'm just saying.
You and Hunter did some research and found the answer to this.
Yes, it's not 12-7. It's not 52-10. All right, Tone Loc. That 18-13 was his record in 2014, but he coached for a few more years. Because you probably found the article that we originally found, then we had to look it up. Hunter, do you see the answer yet? I have not seen it.
King says 67%.
We're getting some closer ones.
Jay.
Chief, you're close. Yeah.
The crazy stat earlier, the 3-15 from Lane Kiffin. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah. Hey, Google does not work with this question because you have to look. I believe there's some really close ones now. Because I think Dalpo's got it. Hunter, verify for me. But I believe Dalpo's got the correct answer at 2016.
And Bobby, make sure you email us at ousportsroundup@gmail.com. Something for trivia. Listen, yeah, that's it. Dalpo's got it 21-16. So, Jay, think about that. The guys you mentioned earlier, Sarkeesian, Lane Kiffin, Brian Kelly, not even close. Not even
Hey,
comparable.
I didn't give you one name that I think everybody would agree is just horrific. James Franklin. You ready to hear his record against top 10 teams?
It's bad.
3-22, y'all. 3-22 against top 10 teams.
How's it going, Selene? Yes. And listen, Selene, stats, and I say this to Jay all the time. I say this to a lot of people in the Discord. I can find research. I can find some things that will support any side I want. Sometimes stats are skewed or there's a lot of variables, but they still do tell a lot in some things. I just think you can't just take those.
I agree. And Matt, I think what's so interesting about Bob Stoops is he took over a dumpster fire, but Bob Stoops early in his career, he won almost every big game. I mean, he was winning big games like crazy. You remember Big Game Bob? But then I think as his career went on, that's when he started to lose some of them. Because at first he got the nickname Big Game Bob.
Hey, Jay, I got to answer Chief here. Chief.
Well, you keep promising trumpets, you never deliver.
I'm sorry. It was a super long day. I couldn't get all the way to Dad's house.
Don't commit unless you're ready.
I was just getting ready to say tomorrow marks a week before the first game. If I don't have my trumpet, I will try to find one from a student somewhere and borrow it just for you, Chief.
I've seen a few things in there about this.
We got to hit it, Jay. We got to hit it.
Floyd Buchard. Is that what you're talking about, Jeremy?
Yes, you got to hit it.
Listen, I don't know for sure, and I don't claim to know. But my response to it is, if Floyd Buchard takes an official visit to Florida, then Floyd Buchard's not coming to Oklahoma. Am I wrong?
According to what we know of BV's policy, Jay, I would find it very difficult to believe he's going to OU if he's taking an OV somewhere.
If he's going to take another official visit, I wouldn't think he's going to be at Oklahoma. But we'll see. Keaton says, I was also told my song would be jammed.
What song is that?
I think that was tonight, but we can't jam it on the show, on the copyright issue, right? I mean,
what song, Jay?
I think he put a song in there earlier. Was that him?
Oh, Chelsea's thing?
Yeah. After the live, we're going to look it up. Yeah.
What?
I agree, Mark. Those games they got beat. I mean, I'm not going to deny that.
Gary, you're right. It is Booty time at Louisiana Monroe. General Booty is the starting quarterback.
What is their nickname? The Louisiana Monroe
Raging Cajuns?
No, that's not the Raging Cajuns. I think it's the Red Hawks, maybe.
And Matt, that's what you got to wonder.
Warhawks.
Matt, that's what you got to wonder. Is there someone else coming in?
I don't think so. Listen, I think the whole Floyd Buchard thing is this. I don't think they're even entertaining other guys. I think right now he's committed to Oklahoma. If he were to take a visit, that's when they would probably. I don't know. A lot of this could be just hearsay. I mean, nobody knows. If it's an official visit, though, that would be my issue.
Well,
if he takes an official visit, I don't think he's going to Oklahoma.
Jay,
based on policy.
If you're going to base it on policy and base it on past, no, he wouldn't be. And that stinks, but that's it. So that's what you got to deal with. You win some, you lose some. I'm not saying he's not gonna. He's doing that because I haven't heard official, and I don't follow recruiting enough at all. I promise you that. There's a lot more people out there following it closer than I am. I'm a gut guy. I'm a feel guy. Okay.
Go with the gut. It's usually pretty good. Hey, Gray God, listen. I don't care. Listen, I think you're missing the point. I don't care where the school is, Gray God. If he takes an official visit, he's not going to Oklahoma.
Yes,
I
they
don't.
are
Is
limited.
that hard to understand? If he goes on an official visit to another school, he's not coming to Oklahoma.
Hey, and
right?
I agree, Jay. And Hunter, on Selene's question, it says, are players limited? Yes, I say yes, they're limited because I'm talking about how many times they can officially visit a school. Selene, they're limited to how many times they can visit a school, but they're not limited to how many times they can visit total.
Hey, Greg, listen. Am I echoing a lot? Let me try something.
Maybe, Jay. I'll answer. I'll answer. Greg God's. I'll respond to Greg God's statement. Greg God says, and by the way, all those that are on here, Sooner Surge Unlimited members, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Greg God's one of those. I just disagree with that BV stance to a certain extent, and I'd like to hear to the extent that you disagree, because in my opinion, what it does, and obviously there's probably some good and some bad here. For one, it helps you at least solidify to some extent that, hey, we know this guy's going to be a Sooner. Hey. He said it. He's going to commit. It takes away this game playing of, ooh, I'm going to go do this, this, and this, commit or else. We flat out heard Danny Okoye on our show, Jay, say he didn't really like it. But he respected it.
I don't know if you explained it for the ones that maybe don't know. I think most people do, but there's probably some that don't. That basically, if you commit to Oklahoma, Brent Venables says if you commit, it's like almost like when you get married, you commit to a person, you're committed. You're not going to go date other women. All right. You commit to the school. If you go take an official visit to another school, we're no longer committed. We're no longer a thing. That's kind of his policy. It's been his policy since day one. They've lost, what, 2 players to that? I can remember off the top of my head. You had the Ashton Kozart, I believe, was one that went to Oregon. After he committed to Oklahoma, he ended up going to Oregon on a visit, I believe. I'm trying to remember the other one. There was another guy last year. I'm trying to remember who it was. Hunter, you may know it. But policy was after.
Hunter's saying the policy was after that happened, Jay.
Well, I know they lost a couple guys to that policy, but whatever.
I hope your echo's fixed. You're not echoing on my end, but Dalpo says if OU is 8-4, should BVC be warm? Yes. And let me actually clarify, okay? In my opinion, I'm just going to say this. I think pretty much the head coach of the University of Oklahoma, anytime you go 8-4 or 7-5, your seat's warm when you sit on it. At the University of Oklahoma, your seat is warm as soon as you take the job.
Yeah, but it's just like the quarterback at Oklahoma, Jackson Arnold. If Jackson Arnold struggles, he may play pretty good. If it's not to the level of what they're used to with Baker, Kyler, all the great quarterbacks, he'll feel the hot seat.
And I agree with Keaton a little bit. It does depend on how that looks because, again, a 9-3 or an 8-4, an 8-4 especially, depending on who those losses are to and how you lose, could play a big role. But here's what I'm going to say, Keaton. If OU's 8-4 and has close losses, I'm sorry, most OU fans, including me, are going to say Brent Venables can't win the close games because that's been an issue.
Scott says, and this from a Tennessee fan, Scott says, y'all can't be putting him on the hot seat if he goes 8-4. That would be a solid first year with the freshman quarterback. And I do agree with the freshman quarterback. I think that plays a part. But with the talent they have defensively, I don't, you can say hot seat, you can say warm, whatever you want to say it. I just know Brent Venables is not expecting to go 8-4. So
hey, let me ask Scott V
maybe
something.
It'd be warm. I don't know if it'd be hot seat.
Let me ask Scott V something. Let me ask Scott V something. if Tennessee is 8-4, 9-5, do you think Josh Heupel's on the hot seat?
Actually, I'd like to know what Scott.
Is that what you're wanting with the first-year quarterback at Tennessee, Scott?
I'd like to know kind of what Scott thinks Tennessee's going to go this year. We haven't asked him that. Perryman says, hadn't heard much about Deshaun McCulley. He's been injured. I mean, that's the big deal.
Again, on a scooter in a boot doesn't necessarily mean anything except that they're being precautionary so that he can heal quicker. I think he's playing before Tennessee. I absolutely do.
Chief says the loyalty they will show BV if he struggles will be strong. He has a long leash. And I do think he has a long leash. He's an Oklahoma guy. He wants to be here forever. I just think you can't get into I think of it. I'm not, please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not comparing Brent Venables to this person. But I can go through a list of coaches that were brought in because they were a program guy. I mean, I'm going to use TU as an example, Bill Blankenship. They brought him in, and they kept him forever. Even their basketball coach was John Phillips at TU, and it didn't really help the program that he stayed around so long. So I think Brent Venables is going to win at Oklahoma. I don't think there's going to be a worry. I think 2025, 2024, 2025, these first 2 years will kind of show you what you're going to get out of Brent Venables in the long run. And I hope it's 9-3 in the playoff berth, because I think that's what you're shooting for every year at Oklahoma's playoffs.
Let me respond here to Scott, because Scott, you said that you think OU at 8-4 would be okay as their first year in the SEC with a new quarterback. So if Tennessee, which is your team, if Tennessee is 8-4 with the new quarterback, wouldn't you say that that's good and okay? But it sounds like you think they should be better than that. So I'm just curious. And I've got to get to
Go ahead.
I've got to get to the fan stop here. And again, check out the fan stop at thefanstop.com. Great apparel, okay? Officially licensed gear. Sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club. Get it sent to your house. Great designs. This is one of the ones that I'm wearing. They're just awesome, awesome, awesome shirts and awesome, awesome people at the fan stop. Listen, fan stop says, what games are you guys projecting as losses? Here's what I'll say, fan stop. I've got OU winning every game at home. That's me personally. I've got every game at home as a win. I've got them losing maybe 2 out of the 4 road games in Auburn, Ole Miss, Missouri, and LSU. 2 of those 4 they lose. 2 of those 4 they win. That would be 10-2. I think they could end up 9-3. I definitely don't have 8-4.
So what about Texas? You didn't mention.
I didn't mention that one because I think that's how they could get to 9-3, Jay.
Yeah, I think there's 2 games that they are definitely winning, and the ones that people think they're losing, and that's Missouri. I think they're going to beat Missouri on the road. The other one, I have a really good feeling about Ole Miss, and I actually have them losing 3 games. I have them losing to Texas, at LSU. And then I have them slipping up either at Auburn or I have them slipping up at home to Alabama or something like that. That's where I'm at. See him in the chat. Bobby's got Bama, Ole Miss, Texas. I've seen some good ones. Auburn, Ole Miss, Missouri, Bama. Week-to-week lead, Trap House says. Let me ask you a question, though, guys, on this Brent Venables stuff. You know, Kirby Smart took over first couple of years. I mean, what have you not seen from Brent Venables to make you think he's not going to be the guy? Because he's a defensive coach. You're in an SEC league where defense has proven to win in the SEC. You go look at the teams that win national championships and win SEC championships. What do they have in common? They have good defenses. Brent Venables is recruiting defensively. They have really good defensive players coming back. They've recruited really well last year in the power line. So you think, okay, defense, they're going to be better. Offensively, I think the concern to me right now, if I was an outsider looking at Oklahoma and Brent Venables as the head coach, is, okay, what are they going to do offensively? Recruiting-wise, they haven't dropped off. They're getting the good quarterbacks like they always have. I think a lot of Brent Venables' success may hinge on one person. You know who that is? Seth Luttrell.
Hey, don't let me start a rant here. Don't let me start a rant.
Real quick. he made that hire. I think a lot of it's going to come down to Seth Luttrell. You can look at me funny if you want. I'm just saying.
I'm not. I'm looking at the Grey God comment because Grey God says that he predicted the Auburn loss a couple of weeks ago, and y'all said no way, and Germ was yelling. Listen right now. Grey God.
I didn't say they were losing. I said it's a possibility. It's always a possibility.
No. Grey God predicted the Auburn loss, and he said we were yelling. Listen, if anyone's watched the show, and Grey God, first off, I know you're on here every single night. I've been saying the Auburn game, out of the 4 road games, it could be one of the toughest ones because it's the first road test of the year, and Hugh Freeze is going to have them ready, and the environment's going to be awesome. So I'm not sure that I can go back and find it. I've been higher on Auburn than most people. I said,
you should win at Auburn. They should.
Jay, I just said it again. Out of the 4 road games, I think they could lose 2 of them. Yes, I didn't say which ones. And when am I not yelling? That's right.
You should beat Auburn. That shouldn't be.
They should, but I think it's going to be one of the toughest road games.
Hey,
you can find it. Hey, Grey God, go find the clip, and I guarantee you I can find a clip of me saying that that's going to be a very tough road game.
Hey, fan stop. I'm not questioning his experience. Has he done it on the level of Oklahoma, though?
He did it at Power 5 conferences, Jay.
Oklahoma level?
Well, I mean, North Carolina and Arizona are not Oklahoma level. I get it.
Okay, I'm a big Seth Luttrell fan, so I think he's going to do great things. I'm just saying I do think a lot of it's going to hinge on that because go back 2 years ago, the hire that Brent Venables made with Ted Roof, I don't think people would say that was a great hire, was it not? The reality is this. When you're a head coach or you're a leader of any company and you do hiring, if your people don't pan out, it falls on the head coach.
Hey,
you made that hire. It's going to fall on him is all I'm saying.
Let's mention Trap House Boomin's comment here because it is a great one. And listen, there is one thing Brent Venables is not. Are you ready for this, everybody? Brent Venables is not stubborn. That is one thing I love about Brent Venables. He is super humble. So when the people in here in the chat who are right when they say in-game coaching has been bad, I agree it has been. But Brent Venables is so humble that he has already figured out ways to correct that. And one is the hiring of Zach Alley, where he can be more of a CEO and be a better game manager. That's what I love about BV. I know Trap House is kind of getting on that as well. So talking about that as well. Self-check is a very, very good characteristic for BV.
Hey, and I would love to see a poll with the viewers in here, but Brent Venables, as the head coach of Oklahoma going to the SEC, there's not many other coaches I would have picked out there that they had the chance at getting that I would want other than Brent Venables going to the SEC. The only other name that would come up would be Dan Lanning. That's it. Dan Lanning or Brent Venables. That's it. There's no other guy. So I think OU's in great hands. And you're 100% right, Boom Squad. That's exactly what will happen. Just like other games, if they go destroy Missouri, which I'm going to be flat out honest with you, they need to go handle Missouri. I'm tired of the Missouri talk. I'm done with it. What have they done? Tell me what they've done.
Don't know, Jay.
They got a cake schedule this year. I'll admit that. And they're going to win games. But
I've got to go back to the comment because Boom Squad says when OU destroys Auburn, what will the experts say? Auburn ain't any good? Probably. But, Jay, I've got to Grey God is saying that what OU should do and actually do is 2 different stories. It is. But did Grey God say that OU was losing to Auburn earlier? Because I have a near photographic memory, and you know this to be true, Jay. I pretty much have a photograph.
You don't, by the way.
Pretty much do. And I know for a fact I said Auburn. I was higher on Auburn than most people. But OU should beat Auburn. OU should beat them. I'm not saying they're going to, though. They're going to lose 2 of those 4 road games, I think.
I got to get to something that's really bothering me. And you know what
Go for it.
It's the DeBoer stuff. How many people, when Lincoln Riley took off in the middle of the night and left to go to USC, how many of y'all said, I want DeBoer to come to Oklahoma? None of you. Nobody. 0 said DeBoer's name. Most of the people that are talking about are DeBoer is because two things. He won last year at Washington, and he's at Alabama now. Other than that, nobody would even think about DeBoer, and I'm not wrong with that.
No, I think DeBoer is unbelievable, but I think you are right in the fact that if OU would have hired him, people would have lost their mind. I love DeBoer. I absolutely love DeBoer, but I do think you're right. OU fans would have lost their mind with that hire.
Yes, they would have. Nobody even thought about it.
Both can be true. He can be an elite coach, which he is, and OU fans would have lost their mind.
I'm going to say this. I've said it before. And I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Bookmark this. What is this? 40 minutes and 33 seconds into this live on what day are we in? August what? 24th? I'm going to say right now. I already see Jeremy Cole another comment. Let me finish. I think DeBoer may be in over his head.
I know you've said that. And
I said it. I think there's great coaches that go to teams that I don't know if he's ready for Alabama.
We're going to find out.
Ready for Alabama after Saban, right?
We are going to find out, Jay. But Bobby does say that we both said Auburn. So, yeah. So I don't know what Greg I was referring to earlier. And I want to say that Eric says it doesn't matter. He's a better coach than BV. Again, right now it's all. We don't know yet who's going to be the best coach, and that's why earlier when someone asked, I don't know who the losses are going to be, but I do know that out of those 4 road games, I think OU falls on 2 of those. I don't know which ones they're going to be. I haven't seen any of these teams play yet, so I won't predict it yet. I just think they lose 2 road games.
And I would agree with about everything that Trap House says here. The chemistry, it's a tight group, and you do kind of have to the culture that you had to build. I know we've talked about what he came in with Lincoln Riley, the group he came in with, but culture-wise, it was a rebuild. It takes a little bit.
And Jay Johnson, here's the deal. Jason just went through Sarkisian's top 10 record against top 10. Brian Kelly's top 10 win-loss record. He did a few of these. Tell me in the SEC, outside of DeBoer and Kirby Smart, who is just killing it in the SEC as far as coach? Mark Stoops? Elko? Who?
All right.
Like I'm saying, who?
Eric, real quick, I got to get to Eric's question. Could Lane Kiffin win at OU?
Yeah, he could.
He would be just about what – I don't think he'd be much different. I really don't. Because if you're telling me is Lane Kiffin a better coach than Brent Venables? And I think he's a great offensive coach. I don't know if I think he's along the same lines of Lincoln Riley. I don't know if they're ever going to play good enough defense to win a national championship at Ole Miss. Hey, real quick. Come on, guys. Stubby, what are you talking about? You got to explain, bro.
I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't see anything in there about what he's talking about.
Hey, Jay Johnson, Kelly is 6-20 versus top 10 teams, though. I will say that. Now, a lot of that was at Notre Dame. That's why he left Notre Dame. They couldn't beat the big dogs.
Wait, Ron, I'm confused. I'm saying there's a bunch of average coaches. No, I'm saying there's a bunch of good coaches in the SEC, and there's really, in my opinion, only one elite coach, and there's one really good coach in DeBoer, one elite coach in Smart. All the other ones are, I think, good coaches that we've mentioned, like Kiffin and Venables and some others maybe, but we'll see if they become great if they win a national championship.
Please explain, Stubby. Trap House, that's a great comparison. And, Eric, you're saying that Ole Miss will play D this year? How do you know? They haven't done it.
I don't want anyone explaining what you're referring to, Jay. Let's just drop it if there's something like that.
What do you mean?
You said, Stubby, to please explain. I don't want anything explained.
He said move on, dudes. I don't know if it was something I said or what. But I think we've went off on a tangent here with coaches. And it's like, yeah, let's move on.
Okay, and Bobby, I'd like to hear him right now. And you may be right. And that's a good statement saying there may be 10 better, but only 4 or 5 that you would want.
There's a lot of good coaches out there, yeah.
I'm trying to think of 10.
There's probably 10 out there. Jackson. You can go through a list. Yeah, I agree. Focus on the future.
No one.
I think it had to do with my DeBoer stuff and moving back, but this OU team. But I'm not even going to go there.
Hey, outside of Jackson says outside of Kirby and Lanning, then he can't say anyone else.
Hey, Jackson, that's kind of I have to disagree with Jackson. There's more than 2 better coaches than Britt Venables out there. I mean, come on. Right?
Yeah. So just start.
Where would you put Sark? Where would you put Sark?
Harbaugh's not in there anymore, so you can't even
put Sark. Where would you rank Sark?
I think Sark and BV are about the same.
Where would you put Lane Kiffin? Above BV?
He hadn't done anything, Jay, so I can't put him above him.
I think the fact is this.
Like, who are the 10 above BV? I think there's a whole lot of good coaches, Bobby.
Listen.
Time out. There's a whole lot of really good coaches. But to say elite, how many are there? Ryan Day is ahead of BV right now, but he hadn't done a whole lot extra outside. But he's ahead of BV right
now. What about Brian?
Deion Sanders?
Brian Kelly, history-wise, yes.
Deion?
Who put Deion in? Nobody.
Steven did.
Nobody put Deion in here, did they?
Yes, Steven.
Now, I do think Rule's a really good coach.
I love Matt Rule.
I think Matt Rule's a great coach.
Steven is absolutely saying Deion Sanders.
I think Dabo maybe used to be, but I don't know. I think that the times have changed a little bit with Dabo. Yeah, by the way, if you didn't see Deion today, do we even need to go with what the stuff that came out with Deion today? I mean,
it's unbelievable, Jay. It's unbelievable. We don't have time to get into that.
I think here's what I'll say, and I'll kind of end my thing with this is, for coaches, for me, it's all about defense. I want to win a national championship. As an OU fan, that's what I want. I haven't seen a national championship in 24 years. I can barely remember it. I'm getting old. I want to see a national championship. I don't think you're winning national championships with offensive-minded coaches. It doesn't happen very often. Not very often does it happen. So that's why I think BV is a great hire for Oklahoma, because I think he's defensive-minded. And you have to win championships with defense. That is not just a saying. It's not. Defense wins championships. It's an actual fact.
Dalpo's going to come at you with that saying. But, hey, Mez, you can't say Matt Rule was bad in the NFL, yes. But so was Nick Saban. Nick Saban wasn't good in the NFL.
Now, that's a good name. I would agree with Jay Johnson. Kyle Whittingham's a great coach.
I love Kyle Whittingham. Absolutely love Kyle Whittingham. Hey, I know it's already 48 minutes. Listen, and Eric, I love Kyle Whittingham. He's one of my favorites. And we'll get to what Bobby says maybe tomorrow. Bobby's got 10 names. This would be a great list to start with tomorrow.
Bobby, email us.
I disagree with those, but yeah, Bobby, send us an email, ousportsroundup@gmail.com. Listen, shout out to the Fan Stop again. Appreciate everything that the Fan Stop does. Please check them out at thefanstop.com. Sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club. Use code SURGE. Get 10% off your first 3 months. It's a great time to sign up because football season is 8 days away, and you're going to want more shirts sent to your house each and every month. Also, thanks to each person that's been on here tonight and in the chat, being active as you always are. Great discussion as always tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a fantastic Friday.